Welcome to Gamma Radio with your host, Gil Mancha. This is my chronological discussion of the strongest one there is, the Incredible Hulk. Disclaimer, I will be actively getting and collecting issues as we go, and I'm trying to only cover issues that I have a physical copy of or are in a collected edition. I'm going to try to stray away from digital because I love physical media, but the Marvel Unlimited app would be a great way to keep up with the podcast. We'll of course start with his original self-titled comic. There's a few others, some TV shows, movies, and even some video games we can discuss. And trust me, I'd love to discuss those games down the line. Be sure to hit the follow button on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or preferred platform to get episodes as soon as they drop. While you're there, please leave a review so the show can be recommended to other comic book fans. In today's episode, we have something that's even bigger and more substantial than even meeting the Fantastic Four in the Avengers Volume 1, Issue 1, The Coming of the Avengers. This issue was released on July 2nd, 1963. Links will be in the podcast notes. Let's take a look back at what else was happening that day in history.
The duck can't cover, sports fans. He's hulking out.
The best-selling single in the US was Easier Said Than Done by the SX, and in the UK was I Like It by Jerry and the Pacemakers. The top of the box office was How the West Was Won. Children and teens were watching shows like The Gumby Show, Captain Pugwash, Leave It to Beaver, and My Three Sons. If you're a child, you're likely to be playing with toys like Fisher-Price Little People, Play Pal Dolls, Astro Base, and the Etch-a-Sketch. Easier Said Than Done by the SX is a children's music pop song released in May of 1963. The SX were active duty members of the United States Marine Corps at the time, as was Linton, who wrote the song at the request of the SX member Walter Vickers. Linton said the song's rhythm was inspired by the sound of the teletype machines in the communications office at Camp La Lejeune. The group was not thrilled by the composition, but it ended up a major hit. When the song topped the Billboard 100, it stayed there for 2 weeks. It peaked number 1 on the following weekly charts in 1963, New Zealand's Lever Hit Parade, US's Billboard Hot 100, US Billboard R&B, and US's Cashbox Top 100. I Like It by Jerry and the Pacemakers is a Mersey beat song released in May 1963. The single is described as a happy-go-lucky jumper that Jerry solo vocals in ear-arresting style. It hit number 1 on the UK singles chart and stayed there for 4 weeks. Easier Said Than Done is a fun, old-styled pop song. I like when the singer says, "Well, I know," and then the chorus chimes in with, "I know." Whatever that's called, I like when songs do that. Despite being from the same time frame, going from Easier Said Than Done to I Like It, I'm aware that the latter has much more clarity. Granted, this is Spotify, so there may be platforms where they have similar clarity. That's a big part of why I prefer I Like It, since they're both pretty catchy. How the West Was Won is a 1962 American epic western that was originally filmed in true 3-lens cinerama with the accompanying 3-panel panorama projected onto an enormous curved screen. IMDb describes it as a family saga covering several decades of westward expansion in the 19th century, including the Gold Rush, the Civil War, and the building of the railroads. It has a large cast including Carol Baker, Lee J. Combe, Henry Fonda, Gregory Peck, Debbie Reynolds, and John Wayne. How the West Was Won is widely considered one of Hollywood's greatest epics. The film received widespread critical acclaim and was a box office success, grossing $50 million on a budget of $15 million. At the 36th Academy Awards, it earned 8 nominations, including Best Picture, and won 3, for Best Story and Screenplay written directly for the screen, Best Sound and Best Film Editing. In '97, it was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. In The Simpsons, this movie inspired the name of Season 20, Episode 11, How the Test Was Won. The relevant part of the episode was that underachieving students were sent away while there's a big test so that they don't bring down the score. The film is not available for streaming, but you can buy and rent it on YouTube, Apple TV, Prime Video, Google Play Movies and TV, and Fandango at Home. As of writing, there's currently a sale on Prime Video. I have Prime, so I often use the latest shipping option that gives free digital credit. Based on the acclaim, I bought the movie with those credits, and on sale, I paid about $1 for the movie. Warning, it's a 2-hour, 44-minute movie, which is a time sink. We already covered Leave It to Beaver in previous episodes, so since you're keeping up with the podcast, you already know all about it. The Gumby Show is a 1955 adventure cartoon featuring the title character Gumby, who is a blocky green humanoid made of clay that has adventures with his pony, Pokey. The character was created by Art Clokey in the early 1950s after he finished film school at the University of Southern California. His first animated film was called Gumbasia, which was a clay parody of Fantasia. In 1993, TV Guide named Gumby the best cartoon series of the 1950s. In 1994, the Library of Congress used him as a spokes-character for Adventures into Books, Gumby's World, which promoted the Center for the Book's national reading campaign from 1997 to 2000. Gumby and Pokey were used in Cheerios commercials in the late 90s. In 2007, the Gumby comic book was nominated for 2 Eisner Awards, Best New Series and Best Publication for a Young Audience, and won the latter. The Gumby graphic novel titled Gumby 50 Shades of Clay was released in 2017. I didn't want to look it up. On October 12, 2011, a Google Doodle acknowledged Art Clokey's 90th birthday. It was composed of a toy block with a G and 5 clay balls in the Google colors. Clicking each ball reveals the blockheads, Prickle, Goo, Gumby, and Pokey. In the 80s, Eddie Murphy did a parody of Gumby, and on December 21, 2019, Eddie Murphy reprised his role while hosting Saturday Night Live during a sketch on Weekend Update. Gumby appeared in The Simpsons couch gag for Season 17, Episode 158, The Girl Who Slept Too Little. When the Simpson family rolls into their living room as clay balls, Gumby arrives a couple seconds later. After a few seconds of rolling, the Simpsons form into themselves in claymation form, with Gumby doing the same. Gumby then waves at the family before they look at the TV again. The Gumby Show is available to watch for free on the Roku channel, Prime Video, Fandango at Home, and with subscription on YouTube, YouTube TV, and Sling TV. I watched the first episode and he steals a ship to go to the moon. When he gets there, there's a sign with these weights to put on so you don't float away, but in nearly every other scene, he's not wearing it, even if it's just a different camera angle. I won't make this the Gumby cast, but it's interesting to see how primitive everything is in terms of production. Captain Pugwash is a 1957 to 1966 television series based on the fictional pirate who appears in a series of British children's comic strips, books, and television shows created by John Ryan. It's about the adventures of Captain Pugwash and his crew aboard the pirate ship, the Black Pig. By July 2nd, 1963, we had just seen Series 7, Episode 8, with the 9th coming up in 5 days. Captain Pugwash is available to watch on Prime Video and possibly on YouTube if you look hard enough. My Three Sons is an American television sitcom that aired from September 29th, 1960 to April 13th, 1972. The series was filmed in black and white and broadcast on ABC during its first 5 seasons, before moving to CBS for the remaining 7 seasons, which were filmed in color. My Three Sons chronicles the life of a widower and aeronautical engineer, Stephen Douglas, as he raises 3 sons. The show ran for 12 seasons. Mitch Hedberg had a joke about the show in his 2008 live album, Do You Believe in Gosh? It was, you know that show My Three Sons? That'd be funny if it was called My One Dad. While the show is live action, the intro featured an animated scene of the 3 sons from the shins down. The Simpsons couch gag for Season 30, Episode 659, I'm Just a Girl Who Can't Say Dough, featured a parody of My Three Sons intro, but with Bart, Maggie, and Lisa called My Three Kids. My Three Sons is available to watch for free on Pluto TV and with subscription on Philo. We've already covered Fisher-Price Little People, Play Pal Dolls, Astro Base, and Etch-a-Sketch in previous episodes, so since you're keeping up with the podcast, you already know all about them. If you're familiar with either songs or top movie, let me know. On the Spotify app, there's now a comment section. You can do it there or on social media. That's a taste of what the world was like when the Avengers Issue 1 was released.
Ow, I hurt myself changing this tire!
I'm reading this thanks to Marvel Epic Collection The Incredible Hulk Volume 1 Man or Monster, but it's also available via Marvel Epic Collection The Avengers Volume 1 Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Avengers Omnibus Volume 1, Marvel Masterworks Avengers Volume 1, and several others, but those are probably the best to get physically. If you prefer a black and white style, then Essential Series The Avengers Volume 1 works. But that series has ended, so you'll have to go to another from where it ends if you want to keep reading Avengers comics. The story was written and edited by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Dick Ayers, lettered by Sam Rosen, and colored by Stan Goldberg. The cover shows the 5 members of the titular team in the background looking toward Loki, whose back is to the reader on the far right of the foreground. In a red text box above the Avengers says, "Can the combined power of the Avengers defeat the sinister spells of Loki, god of evil?" The aforementioned Avengers team consists of a golden, bulky Iron Man, the Hulk with the ground cracked underneath him, Thor in his original suit with winged helmet, swinging Mjolnir saying, "Loki, prepare for battle." Shrunken down, Ant-Man is jet skiing in the air on 2 ants with Wasp flying next to him. Loki says, "The Avengers, bah, I'll destroy you all." At the bottom left of the page is a red square that reads, "Superheroes, Supervillains, Super Thrills, presented in the fabulous Marvel manner." This iconic cover has been homaged many times. Most recently it was recreated with Skrulls, replacing the heroes on the cover of New Avengers number 40. Also a movie version of it was made for the cover of Marvel's The Avengers Prelude, Fury's Big Week number 1. Most members of the Avengers next appear in their monthly titles. Thor in Journey into Mystery number 97, battling the Lava Man, Iron Man in Tales of Suspense number 46 where he battles the Crimson Dynamo, Ant-Man and Wasp in Tales to Astonish number 48 where they battle the Porcupine. Unfortunately for the Green Goliath, his title was cancelled at issue 6, being his last, with Hulk being a guest character till Tales to Astonish issue 59. The About This Issue section on the Marvel Unlimited app for this issue says, "Sometimes there are threats too big for any one hero to combat. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby knew this, and so they created the Avengers, bringing Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, and others together to form Earth's mightiest heroes. Avengers Assemble." After the break, we'll summarize the issue. What it do, guys? Mandrame here, and if you like board games, especially deck building games, you should check out at Team_Thunder on YouTube. There we have unboxings and games of Legendary, a Marvel deck building game, the DC deck building game, the Transformers deck building game, and many more. That's where you can find VODs for this, Accelerated Visions, a Spider-Man 2099 podcast, and Water Damage, an Aquaman podcast where you can directly leave a comment and we can discuss the issues.
No, not the Hulk. Not now.
The Coming of the Avengers. We see the side profile of Loki up close with mountains in the background, the text box says. The first of a star-studded series of book-length super epics featuring some of Earth's greatest superheroes. Another text box at the bottom says, "The place, Asgard, home of the Norse gods. The time, the present. The man, Loki, god of evil, a prisoner of the dreaded Isle of Silence, plotting awesome revenge against his mighty enemy, Thor, the thunder god. Surrounded by clouds, he puts up his fists in anger. It is because of the accursed Thor that I am exiled to this barren isle, ordered to remain here by Odin, king of the gods. But though my body may be imprisoned, none can stop my magic powers from roaming the universe in search of revenge." From space we see a planet, possibly Earth, in the background with a rainbow bridge leading to Asgard. Behind Asgard, in the stars, are Loki's giant angry eyes. He thinks, "By means of thought projection I shall send my dismembered self past the rainbow bridge down to Earth. There I shall find some way to make Thor come back to Asgard where I can battle him again and defeat him forever." Loki uses his powers to see into a doctor's office where a child is being treated. He thinks, there he is, in his human identity as Dr. Don Blake, lame, mild-mannered treater of the sick and injured. The boy and his mother leave the office. The boy waves to the doctor and says, "So long, Doc. I feel lots better now." Using his cane to hold himself up, the doctor replies, "Hit a few homers in today's game for me, Bobby." Loki's superimposed eyes grow angrier. He thinks, "Bah, defeating Don Blake means nothing to me. It would be a hollow victory." The god turns his attention to the city. "Only by conquering him as Thor will my revenge be complete. It will require a fearful menace to make the dull doctor become the mighty thunder god. I must scan Earth till I find such a menace." After long hours of supernatural observation, Loki finds, he thinks, a huge human figure flying through the air. How is that possible? He gets a closer view on the figure. No, he is not flying. He is covering area in fantastic, powerful leaps. Now I see. It is the Incredible Hulk. Hulk lands and makes another fantastical leap. Loki continues to think. Although there is no evil in his heart, mankind fears him because of his awesome strength. He shall be the perfect foil for me. As Hulk leaps over a bridge with Loki's full face being in view, he thinks, but what diabolical scheme shall I employ? Ah, I have it. That railroad trestle.
Gamma wave!
A train trestle bridge is a structure of short spans supported by closely spaced frames, bents, designed to carry a railway over valleys, gorges, and other obstacles.
Gamma tsunami!
He continues, all I need do is project a mental image upon the tracks, where the Hulk will see it. There, it is done. The witless mortal will think he sees a real bundle of TNT, about to destroy the trestle just as the train is approaching. Hulk descends upon it, Loki thinks. Perfect. He sees it. And now, not dreaming it is only a non-existent image, he leaps down to snuff it out before it can explode. Hulk tackles the bridge, attempting to squash the explosive. But there is no TNT, and so, reaching for something that is not there, he miscalculates the force of his plunge, crashing into the trestle and shattering it. A red train is headed that way, the train conductor says. Charlie, stop the train. Something smashed the trestle up ahead. We'll crash. Charlie responds. Impossible. We're going too fast. We'll never stop in time. Loki thinks. Ha, it worked just as I planned. When the train crashes, the Hulk will be blamed. He will become the most wanted man on Earth. Dr. Blake is certain to become Thor to join in the hunt. Little dreaming that it was just what Loki wants. But wait, why is Hulk carrying that huge boulder? Hulk carries the boulder to the bridge. He placed it under the tracks, is using it as a support to stand on, the fool. What good will that do? The train is almost upon him. The train quickly approaches, the conductor says, Look, that head jutting through the tracks. Charlie responds, It's the Hulk. He did this. He's trying to kill us all. I can't stop in time. But using the almost limitless strength of his incredible body, the Hulk bends below the tracks, supporting them with his massive back. As the train passes safely by, but then the train passes. Whoosh! The bridge gives way. Crash! Hulk drops down, saying, All safe. Can't hold any longer. Back to Loki with smoke around him, he thinks. He saved the train, but only I know that. The humans will still think he tried to slay them. The hunt will be on, and Thor will live again. All because of Loki, the master schemer. Hours later, as Loki predicted, it's now morning and the daily newspapers are being delivered. The headline of City News reads, Hulk in attack on train. Nation shocked. Army to mobilize. The paperman says as he tosses a stack. Better lock your doors, boys. The Hulk's on the rampage again. From off-screen, someone says. A lot of good locking a door will do against that gorilla. Then, the living being who knows about the truth about the Hulk reads the report in amazement. The back of the newspaper reads, Train engineer identifies Hulk as would-be wrecker. Rick says, It can't be. He'd never do a thing like that, no matter what. Or would he? Within minutes, Rick Jones summons the members of his newly formed Teen Brigade, a group of youthful radio ham enthusiasts. Teen Brigade formed an issue of Hulk number 6. Rick says to the group, If the Hulk is innocent, he needs help fast, and if he's guilty, it'll take more than the army to stop him. We've gotta contact someone with equal powers, like the Fantastic Four. He points to the ham operator. Don't just sit there, fella. Start sending. Use the FF special wavelength. Tell him to contact me pronto, before any innocent jokers get hurt real bad. A blonde boy says, You heard the man, Willie. Now move. And so, seconds later, a frantic message is beamed from the headquarters of the Teen Brigade in the Southwest, halfway across the country towards New York. From the view of the entire U.S., the message being sent is, Calling the Fantastic Four. Condition read. Contact Teen Brigade. Hulk must be found. Do you read me? But the sinister god of evil has other plans. Loki superimposes his eyes over the Baxter building as the message waves are about to be received. He thinks, The Fantastic Four will ruin everything. It is Thor I want, no one else. I must take instant action. He conjures a twister, redirecting the radio waves before they reach the intended target. There, I've used my mental powers to jam the radio waves, diverting them to a different wavelength, one which I know Don Blake is listening to. And, in a quiet study of Dr. Blake, the waves reach a table talk radio. Contact Teen Brigade. Hulk must be found. Do you read us? Don Blake is smoking a pipe while studying his medical textbooks. Strange. Sounds like a call for Thor. He stands up from his desk holding his walking stick. The Teen Brigade, they're located in the southwest. If this concerns the Hulk, it must be serious. And so, the time has come. He kneels on one knee with one hand on the walking stick being bathed in yellow light. For Don Blake to strike his enchanted cane once upon the floor, casting off his mortal guise and becoming, with the light vanished, Blake and the cane are replaced with Thor and his hammer, Mjolnir. He finishes his sentence, the mighty Thor, god of thunder. But, unsuspected by Loki, others have also heard the radio message, and thought it was beamed to them. Among them are the astonishing Ant-Man and the Wasp. Miniaturized Wasp runs to Ant-Man who's standing over dual barrels. Wait for me, Ant-Man. I thought you weren't coming, Jan. I can't see why you have to stop and powder your nose every time we have a mission. Both load themselves into small cannons and Ant-Man hovers his finger over the launch button. Wasp says, Henry Pym, you're beginning to sound like a stuffy old bachelor again. And I intend to remain that way. Now see if you can't be quiet long enough for me to activate the double catapult. The two are now outside in the air with an ant under each foot. Wasp's arms are spread far apart. But why do I have to use your silly flying ant relays? I happen to have my own wings. But we have over 1,000 miles to cover, Jan, and I don't want you exhausted when we get there. And still, another pair of ears have intercepted the urgent broadcast. The ears of Anthony Stark, millionaire, industrialist, and playboy, better known to the unsuspecting world as Iron Man. Tony, as is his norm, is always wearing his golden chest plate. Holding a briefcase with one hand and turning a dial with another, he says, Lucky I was tuned in to the right frequency. Things have been too dull around here lately. He puts down and opens the briefcase. It has the rest of his suit in it. He begins putting on the suit by hand. I've always wondered whether the Hulk really existed, and whether Iron Man's strength was a match for him. Looks as though I'll have a chance to find out, sooner than I thought. Iron Man, now fully suited, is using the boosters in his boots to levitate into the air. I'll propel myself for most of the trip by my solar battery. It's slower than my transistors, but it lasts longer, and I've got a long way to go. Then, after a few hours of cross-country flying, he's in midair and says, Almost there, now to switch to my transistors before I lull myself to sleep up here. He starts moving much faster. This is more like it. Meanwhile, in the main club room of the Teen Brigade, a feeling of gloom fills the air. A teen with a beige shirt says, Still no word from the FFA. A purple-shirted teen takes a sip from a cup. Guess they never got the message. Rick, wearing a headset, is also waiting, or else they can't be bothered to answer a bunch of kids like us. His mood lightens suddenly. Hey, hold it, you guys. Climb up. I'm getting something. It's Mr. Fantastic. A striped shirt teen says, Well, come on, Rick, give. What does he say? Let us in on it. From his lab wearing a headset, Mr. Fantastic says, We've just intercepted a message from you, Rick. It was broadcast on the wrong wavelength somehow. Holding a huge piece of equipment, the thing says, Phooey. Every time there's something heavy to be lifted around here, old pretty boy gets a call on that blasted radio. With her back to them, Sue is manning controls. Ben Grimm, you know you get mic fright every time you have to use it.
Gamma wave!
Mic fright, spelled here M-I-K-E, can also be spelled M-I-C, like a microphone. It's a form of stage fright when having to broadcast into a microphone, causing symptoms like voice loss, panic, and self-consciousness.
Gamma tsunami!
Back to read on the comm. We're wrapped up in another case now, son, but according to my calculations, your message should have been picked up by some others who can help you. If you don't get help soon, radio back and let me know. A blazing Johnny flies by. You kiddin', Reed? Who else could ever do what we can do? Then, as a contact is broken, as if in answer to the Human Torch's bantering question, a purple shirt teen says, Looks like we struck out, Rick. The FF can't make it, huh? One with a gray shirt says, Wonder what he meant about someone else may be helping us. Rick takes off the headset. Just some buck passing, that's all. A teen with an orange shirt turns to see one of those someones behind the group. Hey guys, look! It's Thor, god of thunder, having arrived from the window. Why so surprised? Didn't you send for me? Grayshirt puts his head between his hands in shock. Wowee, it's Thor! A green shirt teen points to small figures in the air. Look, flying above us, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp. Rick turns to his left, with Iron Man having just walked through the door. Iron Man says, It would seem as though the gang's all here. Hey lads. Ant-Man and the Wasp go to a camera. As Wasp flies around, she says, Henry, Did you see that gorgeous Thor? How can I ever make him notice me? Ant-Man is on the dial of the lens. Stop acting like a lovesick female and slip behind this lens with me. I'll adjust it so it'll project our images on the wall. True to his word, Ant-Man is able to get their likenesses projected. He says to the group, "We heard that you needed help, boys. It certainly looks as though you're going to get it." Rick is shocked. This is the coolest. First Thor, then Iron Man, and now Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's more than we dared hope for. But back in Asgard, Loki makes a fist and says, "Bah, this complicates things for me. I only want to find a way to lure Thor up here. I am not interested in those others." Loki superimposes his eyes near the Ham house. He thinks, Thor is at the window now. If I move quickly, I may still succeed. I'll create a mental image of the Hulk and make it run past Thor's field of vision. Beams shoot from these superimposed eyes, creating a holographic image of the Hulk. Looking out the window from inside the house, Thor thinks, I thought I saw. It is. It's the Hulk. He runs out of the house and begins to spin his hammer as Hulk seems to be leaping by in the distance. He says, "There's no need to disturb the others. No matter how fast he can leap, I can always follow him." Thor has almost reached Hulk as the green Goliath seems to land. The God of Thunder finishes his sentence. "By hurling my mighty hammer and holding on to its unbreakable thong." Strange. He moves as though he hasn't seen me, as though he is unaware of anything. Hulk then turns towards Thor and goes to lift a boulder. Thor readies his hammer. No, now he sees me. He is grasping that huge boulder. He intends to hurl it at me. But my hammer will stop him. He throws the hammer. Impossible. It went right through him. The hammer went past the image of the Hulk and bounced off the wall behind. Thor calls back his hammer, which again goes through the Hulk, which, as Thor says, and now he's fading away. It isn't the Hulk at all. Merely a mental image. Only Loki is capable of such wizardry. I should have suspected. He must be behind it. With his hammer back in hand, Thor says, "Loki, thou evil one, I know not what your plan is, but I have warned you never to meddle in Earth affairs. And now you dare defy me." As Thor is making his way on the Rainbow Bridge to get to Asgard, Loki thinks, I've succeeded. He is returning to Asgard. But when he reaches the Isle of Silence, it is I who shall emerge the victor. For this time I am ready for the coming of Thor. But back on Earth, the wheels set in motion by villainous Loki cannot be stopped. The Hulk is still at large, and our amazing saga has barely begun. Outside, Iron Man says to Rick, "Thor has disappeared, but don't worry, lads. I'm sure that Ant-Man and I will be able to find the Hulk and learn the truth. If he really is on a rampage, look out. He's stronger than anyone even suspects. But if he's innocent, he must not be hurt. Understand?" Meanwhile, where is the Incredible Hulk? Hunted, hounded, bewildered, he has taken refuge with a traveling circus, as he wonders what to do next. Hulk, in clown makeup, is standing on two barrels juggling a horse, a seal, and an elephant. The ringmaster points at him and proclaims to the audience, "There he is, ladies and gentlemen, Meccano, the most powerful lifelike robot on Earth. He walks like a man, moves like a man, but he is as strong as a dozen bulldozers. Meccano, the marvel of the age." To the side, the ringmaster takes off his hat and says, "Finding that robot was the greatest thing that ever happened to this show. We've been sold out every night this week." A man with a similar blue suit but bowler hat smokes a pipe and says, "Hard to believe he's only a robot. He sure looks real." But he couldn't be. Nobody could be strong enough to do what Meccano does. A man behind them with a red striped shirt and a baseball cap says, "Wow, look at him now." Hulk is lifting a caged platform that has several lions jumping across barrels and platforms as a lion tamer is holding a wooden chair in each hand. Hulk thinks, they think I'm only a mechanical man. And as long as they go on thinking it, I'm safe. But unnoticed by the Hulk, a tiny ant watches his act, and then, far away on a table next to an ant with Wasp and Iron Man nearby, Ant-Man's helmet receives a message. He says, "At last, one of my army of ants has seen an impossibly powerful performer in a local circus. It could be the Hulk." Ant-Man and the Wasp take flight, with Ant-Man holding reins and having an ant under each foot and Wasp flying with her own wings. Ant-Man says, "We'll go ahead and give the ants their orders. Iron Man will follow behind us." Wasp responds, "He's hideous. I wish he had gone instead of that dreamy Thor. Don't you ever think of anything else except, quiet, that's the circus now. I've got to beam some instructions ahead to the ants." Hulk is on his back spinning a carnival wagon in circles with his powerful legs. Unbeknownst to him, hundreds of ants burrow underneath. Ant-Man commands, "Dig directly below the performer. Weaken the ground. Cause a cave-in. Quickly." Minutes later, Hulk has fallen through the hole made by the ants. Ugh. What? Hulk falls further into the hole. He says, "I'm trapped in this crevice. Can't be an accident. Someone must be wise to me. Don't know how they did it, but that's not important now. Can't stay here. Gotta get out." Exerting his incredibly powerful muscles to full capacity, the maddened Hulk thrashes and pounds and batters and heaves until he breaks loose, giving him room to move. There's not a piece of ground anywhere that can hold the Hulk. Now with space, he's able to wind up his powerful legs and leap out of the hole. "I'm free!" After Hulk landed, Ant-Man and Wasp flew past his view. Ant-Man says, "I flew close enough to be sure. It is him, it's the Hulk." Hulk sees him. "What's that flying past me? It's just a couple of bugs. No, they look like people." Hulk turns around and starts to walk away. "I don't get this. But I don't like what I see. Gotta leave here. They're starting to close in." Ant-Man and Wasp make their way to a wood table with a microphone on it. Ant-Man explains, "I'll use the microphone to make him hear me. Maybe I can reason with him." Wasp says, "I wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley, or even a light one." Over the mic, Ant-Man says to the Hulk, "Wait, this is Ant-Man talking. I know who you are. I must speak to you. If you're innocent, I'll help you. I'm your friend." Hulk turns toward the microphone. "Go away. I speak to no one. I have no friends." Up above, hundreds of ants are eating away at the connection of a metal roll attached to a pole. Ant-Man responds, "If you won't stop, I'll make you stop. Release the steel cylinder, my tiny warriors." Unaware that the cylinder is falling right above his head, Hulk says, "You are a fool. Nothing can stop me." "Don't be too sure of that." The cylinder falls on Hulk, trapping his arms and only allowing his feet to shuffle. Oof. Meanwhile, the audience, thinking it's part of the show, howls with unrestrained enthusiasm. A man eating popcorn says, "Best Stern act I ever saw." A man in a teal vest says, "That big robot has the disposition of my brother-in-law." A woman asks, "How do they ever dream these things up?" Hulk busts through the cylinder. "So, you refuse to stop. You intend to keep hounding me, do you?" He wipes the white paint from his face. "Alright, the masquerade's over. I don't care who knows who I am. Soon as I wipe this stupid makeup off, I'm gonna rip this place apart with my bare hands. What have I got to fear? Nothing can hurt the Hulk." Then, as the startled, incredulous audience recoils in panic, with a couple of ants in view, Ant-Man points and says, "We've done it. We've brought him out in the open. Now every second counts. Lure him under the trapeze net. I'll do the rest." Wasp flies up from behind. "Don't let me down, Henry. I wouldn't want him for a permanent playmate." Wasp flies circles around the Hulk, who turns his head to match her and says, "The insect woman again. Why do you buzz around me? You must be an enemy. I can feel it." Wasp thinks, "How can anyone so big move so fast? He's the most dreadful thing I've ever seen." Hulk picks up a fireplace bellow from the ground. "You think you can escape me because of your size?" No one escapes the Hulk. Using his powerful arms, he uses the bellow to create a gust of wind that envelops Wasp. "Oh." Within the current, she says, "That bellows. Feels like a hurricane. Can't breathe. Can't see. Out of control. Henry, help." Hulk quickly and delicately catches her in midair with his thumb and pointer finger. "No one can save you now." Suddenly, a massive golden figure breaks through the crowd of amazed spectators, and the shock of seeing Iron Man charging towards him makes the Hulk temporarily forget his tiny prisoner. Hulk's grip weakens, allowing Wasp to escape. Iron Man says, "You're wrong. There is one who can save her. Iron Man." Through his transistor-powered built-in radio receiver, the Golden Warrior hears a terse report from nearby Ant-Man. "Perfect timing, Iron Man. Now, quickly, make him run toward the center of the arena. I've prepared a trap for him. Let him try to escape by leaping through the top of the tent." Iron Man lunges at Hulk, who leaps away. And, as the Hulk executes one of his incredible leaps crashing through the very top of the circus tent, he's caught by a net. "Arg!" Outside, standing on a couple of ants, Ant-Man says, "He hit the special nylon safety netting which my ants spread over the top of the tent. Now if only it'll hold him long enough." But can any mere nylon netting be strong enough to hold the rampaging, exploding human powerhouse that is the Hulk? With a mighty surge of brute force, he hurls himself upward, taking all the netting and the entire tent with him. Someone calls out, "He's getting away!" Never have human eyes beheld such an awesome spectacle. Never has mortal man witnessed such a stupendous sight. Seconds later, having ripped off the entangling fabrics on the shaggy peaks nearby, the Hulk continues his frenzied flight with a lone pursuer. Behind the leaping Hulk is the flying Iron Man. There is no place on Earth where I cannot follow you. Suddenly, the mighty fugitive drops to the earth as his golden pursuer, unable to stop in time, whizzes over him. Then, with the speed of a charging dreadnought, the Hulk leaps into the air again, behind the startled Iron Man. In a trice, the hunted has become the hunter, as a thunderous blow to his power pack damages Iron Man's propulsion battery.
Gamma wave!
In a trice means in a moment, very quickly.
Gamma tsunami!
No one can stop the Hulk. Iron Man falls to the ground and thinks, Can't go after him till I repair my battery. He says, Hulk, wait. I want to help you. Trust me. You can't remain a fugitive forever. Come back. Hulk does not heed the warning and leaps away. Bah, I don't trust anybody. Meanwhile, what of the mighty Thor? At that moment, in the grand chamber of the Imperial Palace of Asgard, Thor is kneeling on one knee before a standing Odin and says, Noble Odin, Lord of Gods, grant thy son permission to visit Loki on the Isle of Silence, that I may learn if he is responsible for the deviltry on Earth. Odin tells his son, We grant thee permission, beloved Thor, but hark to these words. Though you be the son of my heart, Loki too is my son. I cannot interfere what transpires between you. I understand, father. And so, alone in the night, the mighty thunder god sets out across the sea of mist, aware that the enemy he seeks is also a legendary god, and the most sinister, most dangerous of all. As he rows his boat, he thinks, Loki must know I am coming. He must have set many traps for me, but I dare not turn back, no matter what the risk. And then, without any warning, a tree he'd passed starts stretching several branches around him and his ship. Tangle roots, dreaded scourge of the swamps. Loki must have planted them here for unwary intruders. He looks up at the growing roots. Within seconds I'll be overwhelmed completely, helpless, unless... My only hope is my hammer. It must not fail me now. Swinging his giant hammer faster than the most powerful earth propeller, Thor cuts his way loose before the tangle roots finish their dread work. Made it, with seconds to spare. But his ordeal is not yet over. Coming within sight of the isle, Thor sees the gigantic volcano erupt with the roar of 1,000 thunderclaps. More of Loki's doing. Only he and I know the magic incantation to bring that flaming mountain to life. As his boat approaches, the erupting volcano lets out smoke in pink orbs. Thor says, Just as I feared, it is spewing forth volcanic gas globules, capable of sapping the strength of any god, and then leaving him weak and helpless when they explode. I must dive below, while there still is time. He does so, right before the exploding globules reach him. Underwater, he continues to travel by holding onto the underside of the boat with one arm, and he thinks, The isle is directly ahead. Luckily, my lungs are strong. If I can just hold my breath for another few minutes. And, on shore, a gloating figure surveys the now silent sea. Loki stands on some rocks overlooking the sea and says, His craft is empty. He is nowhere to be seen. Have I defeated him so soon? Then, as if to answer Loki's words, a gigantic water spout shoots into the air and, from inside the water spout, Thor says, No, evil brother. The battle has yet to begin. Now above water, Thor tosses his magic hammer at Loki. Have you forgotten my hammer is capable of creating water spouts, as well as punishing my foes? Loki puts up his arms defensively, and with the speed of thought, Loki freezes the molecules in the air, creating an icy shield, just strong enough to deflect Thor's hammer. Ha! I'm too fast for you. Thor catches his returning hammer and says, You were expecting me, Loki. That means you have committed some foul deed, knowing I would come to avenge it. He then jumps in and smashes the ice shield with a full-bodied swing, and avenge it I shall. In silhouette, Thor stands before Loki. Nothing can save you from me now, Prince of Evil. Stop, accursed brother. Do you remember the name of this isle, and the ones for whom it was named? The silent ones, who live below, the natural enemies of gods, the trolls. A large pink hand comes out of the ground and grabs Thor by the leg. With two other trolls sticking their heads out of their holes, the first troll jumps out of the hole and wraps its arms around Thor's torso and one of its legs around one of Thor's. Loki continues, You have been away from Asgard so long you might have forgotten, Thor. Here we are all immortals. We are all super powerful. Nothing that lives, in Asgard or on Earth, can break the grip of a troll. It is from them that the Earth legend of the Old Man of the Sea was born.
Gamma wave!
The Old Man of the Sea primarily refers to a shape-shifting, prophetic Greek sea deity, often Proteus or Nereus, who must be physically restrained by revealing truth, or the parasitic monster from Sinbad the Sailor's Fifth Voyage, who enslaves travelers by riding their shoulders. It represents either a divine, elusive nature or a burdensome, inescapable force.
Gamma tsunami!
Thor is brought down to the ground as the troll makes its way back into its hole. This is the trap I planned for you, Thor. I promised the trolls that, if they obeyed me, I would deliver the mightiest of the gods to them. Now they'll drag you below, where you shall slave in their minds forever. All that can be seen of the troll are its big hands, beginning to pull Thor's head through the hole. He turns his hammer vertically and says, "Not yet, evil one, not while I have one hand free and can still pound my enchanted hammer on the ground, for, remember, I am still god of the thunder and the blazing lightning." His hammer becomes a lightning rod, which lets Thor break free and sends the troll plummeting deep into the hole. Lightning so bright that the sensitive eyes of a troll, used to dwelling in semi-darkness, cannot bear it. Back on his feet, the god of thunder turns his attention back to his brother. He rushes him with his hammer in tow. And now that he has fled back to the Stygian depths from which he came, it is time for you to taste the awesome vengeance of Thor. Loki puts up his arms. "Stop, Thunder God. You have not defeated Loki yet." Thor's hammer goes through a now transparent Loki. I swung my hammer right through you." The real Loki appears behind him. "Not through me, fool. Through a mental image of me. Remember, Loki can match you, trick for trick, and then some." Loki conjures 8 mental projections of himself, all being fully visible. In reaction, Thor begins to spin his hammer. "It will take more than mere tricks to save you from me now, Loki. Although I cannot tell which figure is the real Loki, my hammer will solve that problem for me. I need only twirl it at the speed of a giant propeller to blow all of your figures back to the edge of the cliff. All the Lokis are pushed off the cliff, with the real one hanging on by a tangled root, where the real Loki is certain to reveal himself by breaking his fall, as you are doing now." Still hanging, he says, "Blast you, Thor, you still won't get me. I'll plunge myself over the cliff before you can seize me." Thor kneels down on one knee. "That will be easier said than done, god of evil. Note how I rub my enchanted hammer along the ground, soaking up the strong flow of magnetic currents that give life to the trolls below." Thor then stands and holds up his hammer. Loki says, "I know what you're trying to do, but I'll jump first. No! Thor uses the flow of magnetic currents to pull in Loki. "Too late, Loki. I have you now, and you have much to atone for." With his back stuck to Thor's hammer being held in the air, Loki says, "Wait, stop. Where are you taking me? What are you going to do?" "With noble Odin's permission, I shall bring you to Earth. There you will find others who are waiting for you, others almost as powerful as I." Meanwhile, back on Earth, the Incredible Hulk executes another of his awesome leaps in his effort to escape Iron Man. Hulk has leapt high up in the air. From an airplane, the co-pilot says, "Captain, do you see what I see?" He answers, "It's a Hulk making one of his prodigious leaps." Seconds later, an urgent radio message is heard aboard the same jetliner. Iron Man hovers up to their altitude and says, "Attention, Flight 738. This is Iron Man. Have you seen the Hulk? Repeat, have you seen the Hulk?" One of the passengers on the jet says, "Sufferin' cats." Iron Man goes to the cockpit window. The captain points and radios back. He just whizzed past us. Looked like he was heading toward Detroit." Iron Man thanks him. "Much obliged, Captain." His co-pilot says, "Even though I see it, I don't believe it." Finally, on the ground again, inside a huge auto factory, Hulk leaps and ends up standing on a conveyor belt. Iron Man's still after me. Can't lose him. Iron Man arrives and makes an announcement over speaker. "Attention, clear out, all of you. The Hulk must be stopped. Take cover." One of the workers says, "It's Iron Man." Boy, he doesn't have to tell me twice. Iron Man throws tires at Hulk. Hulk crouches with some missing and bouncing around. "You're wasting your time, Iron Man. These puny things can't hurt the Hulk." Hulk goes to some machinery, grabbing it. "But now I'm sick of running. Now it's my turn to attack." A worker who has yet to evacuate puts up his arms. Help! Somebody stop him! He's gonna tear this place apart! Hulk uses the belt of the machine to wind a metal rod like an arrow. Come closer, Iron Man, closer. Ah, now. It shoots at Iron Man. Whoomp! Who catches it with his hands, sending him back. Oof! Staggered by the impact, which would have stopped anything of mere flesh, Iron Man soon regains balance and, while crushing the metal rod into a clump, he says, "Alright, Hulk, I tried to reason with you, but now." He reshapes it into a cross shape. I'll play it your way. First, I'll reshape this shaft into a steel grapple, and then I'll use the powers of my transistors to hurl it with pinpoint accuracy. It lands, pinning Hulk to the wall. Ha! Bullseye. You think this can trap me? Still being held to the wall, Hulk creates a hole in the wall which falls to the ground outside. Iron Man says, "I never expected that." He pushed himself back right through the wall. As he's falling, he says, "Gotta get out. Need room to move, room to fight." Iron Man makes his way out of the hole in the wall. "Hulk, I want to help you, but the police are right. Maybe you are a menace. You're too dangerous to run around loose." Hulk breaks free of the grapple. "That's it. Come closer. Just a little closer. Once I get my arms around you, even that iron suit won't help you. I'm through being hounded." But suddenly, like a thunderbolt from above, Thor lands with Loki still magnetized to Thor's hammer. "Stop. You two have no reason to fight." Both would-be combatants are shocked. Iron Man says, "It's Thor." Hulk asks, "Who's he holding with his hammer?" Displaying the evil god, Thor explains, "This is Loki, my arch enemy. It was he who planned the train wreck. It was he who arranged for the Hulk to be blamed, in order to make me appear, so that he could trap me." Iron Man says, "It would seem that he trapped himself." Hulk says, "Loki, huh? You got me into this jam. Let me have him, Thor." Loki frees himself from the hammer and stands in the middle of the three with his arms out. "Back, back, you human dolt. No human may land a hand on Loki. I have powers you never dreamed of." Purple energy flows from his body. Hulk bends over, covering his face. "Hey, that glow. What's happening to him?" Also bent over, Iron Man says, "He's made himself radioactive." Smiling with his hands in front of him, Loki says to Hulk, "I'll give you 10 seconds to leave, taking Iron Man with you. Then Thor and I will resume our battle. If you remain, you are doomed." But even as Loki speaks, a horde of ants swarm over a nearby switch, as though obeying some silent commands, and then a trapdoor snaps open beneath the unprepared Loki. "Wah! I'm falling!" He falls down a chute that sends him into a tank. Wasp flies up. "Ant-Man, you did it!" Ant-Man commands his ants to the door of the tank. "Yes, Wasp. It all depended on Loki carelessly standing in the right place. And he did." The ants slam the door shut. "That's it, my little allies. Seal the chamber door tightly. Even Loki can escape from a lead-lined tank." The other three heroes make their way down to the scene. Iron Man says, "He landed down here." Thor says, "This is where the trucks that carry radioactive wastes from atomic tests dump their loads of eventful disposal in the ocean." Proudly standing on the tank, Ant-Man says, "Rest easy, Thor. My ants have locked Loki inside this impregnable tank with the rest of the junk." Thor responds, "Loki cannot remain radioactive for more than another few minutes, after which I shall open the tank and return him to where he belongs." Ant-Man says, "Wait, before we separate, the Wasp and I have something to say. Each of us has a different power. If we combine forces, we could be almost unbeatable." Iron Man says, "Work as a team. Why not? I'm for it." Thor thinks for a moment and says, "There is much good we might do." Hulk says, "I'm sick of being hunted and hounded. I'd rather be with you than against you. So whether you like it or not, I'm joining hey, what are you calling yourselves?" Someone answers, "That's right. We need a name." Wasp flies up. "It should be something colorful and dramatic, like the Avengers, or..." Writing an Ant-Man interrupts. "Or nothing. That's it. The Avengers." Iron Man puts up an arm. "We'll fight together, or separately if need be." Hulk crosses his arms. "I pity the guy who tries to beat us." Thor raises his hammer. "We'll never be beaten, for we are the Avengers." And thus is born one of the greatest superhero teams of all time. Powerful, unpredictable, brought together by a strange quirk of fate, the Avengers are on the march. And a new dimension is added to the Marvel galaxy of stars. After the break, we'll go over some thoughts and feelings about the issue.
What's happening to me?
My darling boy, my Bruce. Don't be afraid. Scientists aren't supposed to fear evolution.
Given the number of pages they had to work with, I think the story did a good job of setting up the meeting of the members. Forgetting we already know all the characters, they did well in telling us who each member is and what powers they have for the most part. Though scaled down to one issue of a comic, they were able to tell a movie-type story. Without looking it up, I could feel the DNA from the MCU's Avengers in this, or maybe the DNA from this in what I remember from the Avengers movie. Instead of the Teen Brigade bringing the heroes together, which had been previously set up, in the movie it's S.H.I.E.L.D. The team composition is smaller in the comic with no Captain America, Black Widow or Hawkeye, and here includes Ant-Man and the Wasp, who I believe were originally going to be in the movie but ultimately were left out. Similar to the movie, the main villain is Loki, who uses a sort of mind control to make a hero do something bad. Here it's Hulk, and in the movie it's Hawkeye. Another difference is Loki in the movie is working for Thanos, but here he's by himself, no army, and he just wants to get Thor. The stakes were way lower here, with no one being injured at all, and in the movie, while the main heroes are mostly fine, Phil Coulson dies, which is the moment that rallies the team. The rallying moment here is they all showed up in the same place. The final battle, or at least encounter, didn't seem difficult at all. Loki emitted radioactive dust but fell through a trapdoor. Works for this, but doesn't really fit the bill for a Hollywood blockbuster. I'm not sure where Hulk's power scales in this. In most non-fighting encounters, Hulk is described as all-powerful and his energy and strength being limitless. That doesn't feel true when we look at his fights. In this comic, he gets trapped a couple of times, but he's able to break free each time. As a fighter, his interrupted fight with Iron Man didn't show Hulk to be way more capable. He didn't get to face Thor, and the Ant-Man and Wasp encounter didn't have a direct fight. When he previously fought the Thing, they actually seemed equal again with neither really having the edge. Now the question is, after reading the Avengers, a big crossover comic, do I want to read the non-Hulk comics? Unfortunately for me and this podcast, the Hulk doesn't have a self-titled line, but don't worry, even after the crossovers he does get another line, so it'll feel like a continuous series. Of the other heroes, I think I'd lean towards Iron Man since they seem so different. One is forced to be another entity, maybe or maybe not, void of his intellect, and one chooses to use his intellect and circumstance to make himself into a hero. That being said, you can get the first 8 epic collections for Iron Man before you get to one that doesn't exist or isn't out yet. Now that I look, only Thor seems to have a couple missing volumes in 25, which I think makes it the most complete. Ant-Man and the Wasp has 2 volumes, which for a collector might be enticing because of how easy it is to get a full collection, because you only have to get 2 opposed to 23. What does it say to the quality if there's only 2 volumes opposed to other heroes with more? What do you think? Did you read the comic? Did I get something wrong? If I do and you guys let me know, I'll include a correction section in the next episode and I'll credit the user. Let's continue the discussion on social media and the YouTube VOD. You can find me at MandrameThunder on Twitter and at Team_Thunder on YouTube. If you're looking for another podcast to listen to and you're a Spider-Verse fan, then check out Accelerated Visions, a Spider-Man 2099 podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you can find podcasts. If DC is more your thing and you want to hear about Aquaman, King of the Seven Seas, check out Water Damage, an Aquaman podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you can find podcasts. Be sure to follow those in this podcast to get episodes as soon as they drop. Mandrame out.
What time up mean?